Hello guys and welcome to Planet Zoo, a game I've been looking forward to for so long. I love these sort of micromanagement games and this involves very cute animals and I'm definitely down for that. So our goal is to make the best zoo possible, but first I want to check out career mode. So this will be where we learn all the basics. We have to get 3 stars on every scenario and then we move on. Eventually I want to start a franchise, my own zoo from scratch. That will come later on. If you guys could be awesome, and if you guys want to see a part 2, leave a like on the video. A big thank you to Frontier for sending me over a review copy so I can show you guys the game a little bit early. When this video goes live, the deluxe edition should be available for you guys to buy, just so you guys are aware. So let's begin career mode. So I have already done the Goodwin house in the beta, but I want to just remind myself. I want to go back, revisit, and yeah, do it again, basically.
Heyo at Hematu. Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. I have a habit of slipping back into the Planko language. It's good to finally meet you in person. I'm Bernard, although I insist you call me Bernie. The only person who calls me Bernard is my wife. And even then, only when I've tracked elephant dung into the carpets. As you know, I own several zoos, but I always like to show people the ropes here at my home. This is the first zoo I ever opened, and a source of great pride for me. And prides, thanks to a lion breeding program we ran in the 80s. But we're in the middle of a big renovation, and that's where you come in. Sadly, our old contractor had to retire after developing a fur allergy. Poor devil kept sneezing his dentures into the lion habitat. So, it's up to you to finish everything off. Don't worry, though. I'm not completely throwing you in at the deep end. My head keeper, Nancy Jones, will be lending a helping hand. Oh, she's a hard worker, and she'll expect you to be too. But I'm sure you'll get along like a house on fire, or even better, one that isn't on fire. Less shouting that way.
Hello there. From that rosy, fresh face of yours, I'm
Let's
guessing
go for a
you're
bronze.
Bernie's new hire. Good. Now, I hope you're ready to ditch your diploma because we're about to get really hands-on. But before we begin the real work, how about we familiarize you with the zoo by learning how to fly around it and visiting some of our beautiful animals. We'll start by popping over and having a look-see at the grizzly bears in their habitat.
Yep, I
Did
can
you
see
know
him.
that grizzly
Look at that.
bears, also known as Ursus arctos horribilis, can hibernate for up to 7 months a year? Oh, but then again, given the chance, I think a lot of people would do that too.
7 months.
Select one of the bears and
That
you'll
is an
bring up its information
incredible
panel.
looking bear.
See now, this is a fantastic way to get a close look at your animals.
Ooh,
You can also
enrichment.
get this
A
view
bit
of
low.
an animal by simply double-clicking on it. Okay, when you're ready,
There we
let's
go.
pop over to
Done
the other
already?
side of the zoo and take a look at the lions.
Look, that
I've
looks
marked
real,
their
doesn't it?
location for
That's
you
incredible.
to find.
I feel like they've even made improvements since the beta as well. The game doesn't run like super smooth. I'm getting 50 FPS, which is not ideal. I would like slightly more, but yeah, it's a pretty demanding game, I guess. Anyway, right, where are we going to now? The lions, I believe.
Panthera leo. All the West African lion to you and me.
Where are they?
Lions are the most social of the big cats, and there can be
Is
as
that
many
poop?
as 40 lions in a pride. Although prides of that size are pretty rare.
I can't find. There it
As
is.
Bernie would
It's a
say,
baby one.
Those lions are awesome. Which is precisely why I handle the training instead these days. Anyway, how about we get started on those objectives? Come on, let's head over to an empty habitat and see what needs doing
Sounds
there.
good. Locate empty habitat. Got it. Let's find the empty habitat. There we go. We're going to put warthogs
As you can
in
see,
here.
it's a lovely space for animals, but it's missing a certain something.
It is.
Well, 2 somethings. Warthogs. So I'd like you to adopt a pair of them. To adopt animals, we need to open the animal market, which is in the animal trading section.
Done it.
We'd have to place
One's
the
arrived.
animals into quarantine before moving them into a habitat. But I am assured by a person of good standing that these warthogs are in the
one's about to
very
arrive.
rudest of health.
Or not.
Right,
Don't worry.
let's
He's
get the
got no
warthog's
box.
habitat finished up so we can keep them nice and happy.
So that's one. Where's the second
animal
one?
in the zoo has meant.
There it is. Yay!
Luckily, if you select
Second
an
warthog.
animal, you'll bring up their animal welfare information panel, which we saw earlier, where you can see how they're doing. That way, you'll know exactly what areas need to be addressed. Don't worry if that's a lot to remember. You can always check the Zoopedia for more information.
Put it sort of near the
Animals
fence
also
so
require
people can see
stimulation to keep
the
them happy.
meeting,
Let's
interacting.
add a lovely mud bath for the warthogs to roll around
Oh,
in.
look at that.
That bath
Big
will count
mud
towards
pit.
their enrichment welfare, specifically their toy
They're gonna love
enrichment
that.
welfare. Oh,
They're
nice
gonna
work.
love that.
You've got a
So
knack
the
for
food will
this,
arrive
I see.
eventually. Oh.
Now, our contractor had to leave in a
Okay,
hurry,
switched
so
off.
this place is in a feral state. Unfinished thingamajigs and what's-its all over the shop. But the first thing we need to finish is the ostrich habitat. It's over near the hippos.
Ah, yes.
Oh,
That's
before
it.
we
Oh,
actually
where's the
start
wall?
building our ostrich habitat, let's pause the game. Just click the pause button in the bottom right corner.
Done it.
That's more like it. A quick break.
I've paused it.
Sometimes it's a good idea to pause the game whilst you're doing something which requires your concentration, because it'll stop the zoo spinning out of control while you're looking the other way. Let's keep the game paused while we get this
Good
ostrich
idea.
habitat built. Okay, job number 1 here is to add a habitat gate before we complete the barrier. Every habitat needs a habitat gate. After all, how else would the keepers get in and out? Just make sure it's hooked up to the path so
Good
the
point.
keepers can reach it. Right.
Seems to
Let's
be
complete
accessible.
the perimeter barrier so we can adopt us some ostriches. I've marked out an area for you to use, so
Yeah.
I'd like you to finish off the perimeter using the brick barrier.
You can make the length a bit longer, which I definitely need to do.
Good work.
Not a great wall, but it will do.
Remember, before you can place animals in any
it's done.
habitat, it has to have a full loop of connected barrier. Now, you've probably noticed that guests can't actually see into this habitat at the moment. At least not without a stepladder.
Oh, yeah.
But seeing as they're banned, I'd like you to select a piece of barrier and swap out the brick for a glass barrier, so the guests can see in. There we go. Adding in more windows gives guests even more
Done.
opportunities to see the animals in a habitat. It's always best
People
to
can
make
look
sure the
straight
guests can
through.
get a good view into a habitat from the path they're walking on, because it makes them happy, and because this would be a pretty terrible zoo if they couldn't. The last thing we need to do is to add a
You wanna see the
donation
animals,
box.
don't you?
You see, when guests
course you
enjoy
do.
the view of an animal, they'll make a donation. Just make sure you put them in easy-to-reach places, like near a viewing point. Donation boxes are one of the main sources of income for the zoo, so
them
make
there.
sure you remember them. Now, before we adopt
So people walk
ostriches,
past,
you should
see
click
the
the play
ostriches,
button.
and donate.
After all, if the game's paused, then so are our caretakers, which will make it a bit tricky for them to deliver the ostriches, eh?
Good point, good point. Animal
By
trading
the
again.
way, as well as pausing the game, you can speed the game up by clicking on the fast forward button. It'll run everything at 2 times and 5 times faster. It can be useful, especially if you're waiting for money to accumulate or for animals to be delivered to your habitat. Personally, I use it when I'm waiting for a brew to finish. All right, you've finished the habitat, so it's
Habitat
high time we
22.
adopted those ostriches, don't you think? Let's get 4 of them in here.
I've already done that.
While we wait for them to be collected
Now
by
it's
the
time to add
caretakers and
feeding
brought to
station,
the
water
habitat,
station,
you should get it ready for
etc.
them. Add a suitable feeding station, water station, and an appropriate food enrichment item. It's often best to place things like
this
enrichments
a
and
large
feeding
bowl?
stations near to the
This is the
habitat
right
perimeter, so
bowl.
guests can get a really good view of the animals.
Apparently that's... what? Really? It looks more hilly there. How about... here? That will do.
Oh,
We done
good
it!
to see
Our
the
first
ostriches
star.
are somewhere they
Sweet.
can really stretch their legs. Did you know they can actually run
Here they
at
come.
43 miles per hour? Oh, heaven forbid they ever escape. The speed camera fines alone
That
would
is
bankrupt
quick.
us.
Look at that. Beautiful
Well,
animal.
Bernie
Look at the
certainly seems
speed.
impressed. Did he do his speed camera joke? Every time we get an ostrich. So, now we've made the ostriches' lives a
time.
bit better,
So
let's do
embarrassing.
the same for the keepers, shall we? To make it easier for the keepers to feed the ostriches
Sounds
and
like a plan.
hippos, we should build a new keeper hut. Keeper huts are where the keepers prepare the food for animals, so they should be placed near to the habitats to make sure the keepers don't waste their time walking when they should be looking after the animals.
Is that a
You'll
good
need
spot?
to rotate the keeper hut to
Fairly
get it to
happy with that.
connect up to the path. This
Done.
keeper hut
That
only
is
has space for one
connected.
keeper, but the larger keeper hut can allow multiple keepers to prepare food at the same time. Oh, but bear in mind that keeper huts and other staff facilities shouldn't be placed near to areas where there are lots of guests. Guests don't like seeing facility buildings, and it can affect their happiness. Negatively,
Oh, the poor guest.
in case that wasn't clear. Now,
It
you've
was clear.
probably noticed the funny grid lines around your new hut, I expect. That's because when you added the keeper hut, you went into group edit mode. Something that's ever so useful when you're constructing buildings. You can read all about it in the help guide I've prepared. For now, though, let's leave this mode by clicking on
thank you
the
very much.
exit button.
I need power.
Something that all facilities, shops, and a whole
Transformer.
host of other objects need is power. And that obviously includes your newly built keeper hut. So let's place a transformer next to it, shall we?
it
Lovely
is.
work.
Looking
Now the
good.
keepers can start using the hut to prepare food, and thanks to where you've put it, they won't need to walk very far to deliver it to the ostriches and hippos. Let's get on to your next objective then. Bengal tigers. We want to adopt some, but I'm afraid there's nothing ready for
Ooh,
them yet.
tigers.
Head on over to the plot of land
Oh,
I
wow.
marked
Okay,
out. It's
yeah.
not too far away. Righty.
There's
your next
nothing
job
here.
is to build a habitat
At all.
from scratch. And concrete and glass, I expect. So go ahead and build it. Just make sure that the habitat includes that big hole we've dug. Oh, and don't forget to add a habitat gate to the barrier.
Oh, the hole there. Got it.
Oh, and make sure the
So as long as it
guests
goes
will be able
around
to see the tigers.
This. Make a good point. Right, so this will be our barrier for the tigers. It's obviously got to be quite well constructed. Quite robust. Not taking too long with this. I'm just trying to get the job done. Get this wall made. Remember, this isn't our zoo as such. We're just trying to almost tick off the tasks. But eventually, we will have a zoo franchise to rival Bernie. Eventually. Later down the line. Yeah, so if you guys have seen this before, this scenario 1. But I wanted to run through it again, just to sort of remind myself as well of some of the basics. And in case you guys missed it, not everybody saw my beta video, of course. Right, there you go. Linked. Now we need a gate.
Now,
Hopefully one could...
Bernie
Yep,
takes
perfect.
safety very seriously at his zoos, so we should probably make sure those tigers can't
Okay.
jump out of their habitat, don't you think? The way we'll do it is by changing the
point, good
height
point.
of the habitat's barrier. Okay then, you should start by double-clicking the habitat barrier, which will take you into barrier editing mode.
Select the whole barrier.
Now you've got all of
highlight
the perimeter
it.
selected, you can increase the height of it by clicking
Yep.
and dragging the barrier height tool upwards. You'll want to make sure it reaches a height of at least 3.7 meters.
How do I know what height it is? Is there a meter each somewhere? I can't see the option anywhere. Anyway, increase the height until it's enough, I guess.
Now that the habitat is in place, don't forget to put down
Done.
a donation box near to your viewing areas. We need every dollar
Oh,
we
of
can
course.
get. Especially as these tigers aren't exactly eating instant noodles for lunch.
Right, let's add some glass. Look at that. You can actually see the tigers in all its glory. Place a donation box, which is under facilities. These are very, very important. It's probably worth adding maybe a few
that's
around.
the habitat boundary complete, the habitat gate in place, and most importantly, the tigers won't be able to jump out of it anymore. I think it's time we adopted those tigers.
That's a good point. Yes! Again, more gorgeous animals. 12,000, 12.5 thousand to get a tiger. Damn, that is expensive. So you see there all the stats. This is obviously something you want to look into later on. Adopt, animal storage, select
Whilst
all.
our trusty caretakers
Move,
collect and deliver the
boom.
tigers,
Habitat 23.
let's take a look at preparing the habitat for their arrival. We'll start
Add in
with the
a lake.
basics.
Ooh.
Add a suitable feeding station for them.
Large food tray. Yeah, by the way, these are from the Steam Workshop, which I downloaded. You can do it so easily. People create these epic buildings, and we can just take them, pretty much. It's a bit lazy, but it's pretty cool as well, actually. I'm going to put this near the window.
Let's try something different. Some animals need a pool in their habitat so they can go for a swim, but they can also use it to drink from.
I like this.
All you have to do is make sure the banks of the pool have a gentle slope so they can easily get a nice, refreshing drink. There's already a pool excavated, but you still need to fill it with water.
Right, the water's back. There you go. Whew. Right, they want some enrichment. So habitat. Frozen blood pumpkin. That is terrifying. Again, put that near the window. Put a couple. And it's Halloween today, actually, when I'm actually recording this video. So that's perfect. And somewhere they can scratch.
Okay, it's really starting to take shape.
Again, I want us to keep the
Now, the
guests
tigers will
entertained.
need a shelter in their habitat so they can hide from the guests, or more likely the bad weather. Although given that we're in England, you might want to think of that just as normal weather. Go on, add a shelter to their habitat.
Tiger, look.
You can either build one from
Beautiful.
various suitable bits and bobs, or if you like, just pop down the blueprint that I've already built for you.
Put the blueprint down, because that'll take me ages. I do want to start doing buildings from scratch eventually, obviously in franchise mode. But obviously, this being career mode, we're going to use the one we already have.
Poor Dabs. I'm sure it can't have escaped your attention that the
Beautifuls.
tigers look a bit miffed. That's because they aren't too keen on the type of terrain
Tiny
in their
bit.
habitat. Select a tiger and bring up its information panel. Rightio. Click on the
different
terrain
plants.
tab. That way you can view the terrain information and see how they feel about the different types of terrain.
And then I want a tiny bit more short grass, I think. Goodbye, long grass. Bit of
Right
short
then.
grass.
All animals need plants and trees from their own biome or continent. You know, deserts, savannas, or Asia, Europe, that sort of thing.
Oh, I remember this one. The Big Mama. There we go. They love that. Look at that. That's crazy. That is a crazy, crazy looking tree. But it provides coverage. They like the plant as well. Done.
They say the good
That
fences
is
make
a silver.
good neighbors. I guess that's doubly true when one of the neighbors is a Bengal tiger. Still, those tigers look so happy that I doubt they'd leave. Even if you did poke a hole in their fence. Oh, but for heaven's sake,
tiger
don't
poop.
test that.
Oh, where's the peafowls?
Now then,
Peafowls?
just
Oh,
find
there they
one
are.
of the peafowls and select them to open
Found
their information
them.
panel. Then we can have a good gander at how they're doing. Now, they've clearly got plenty of space and they're not stressed, but it looks like their social group isn't quite right. So let's find out more. Click on the social tab at the top of their information panel to see what's wrong. Right, as you can see, the peafowls need their
population, not
population
enough.
to be larger. To solve this little
What
problem,
more?
you'll need to adopt 3 more female peafowls. Off you pop to the animal market then.
It is done. And then we can go to animal storage, select
Good
all.
work on those peafowls. I expect
transfer
they'll be
them.
delivered soon.
Indian
But
peafowls are
sadly,
coming
it
over.
sounds like our snow leopard is a bit grumpy. Let's head over there and see what's wrong
Oh
with her.
no! Snow leopard. I'm gonna imagine, yep, lack of
Just
snow.
like people, animals can
There's
suffer
not enough
from
snow here.
stress if things aren't quite
I can't
right.
climb the tree,
You know, like
Jesus.
when you see. Of course, when an animal isn't
that's
in
one
its
way, so they can
natural
look in,
biome,
but the
it's
snow
probably
leopard
going
can't
to
look
be
out.
Too hot or too cold. Tats.
Temperature heat map. So that's down here, I think. Temperature.
As you can see, we already have one cooler in there. Let's pop some more down and get as much of the habitat as chilly as we can. Luckily for us, this habitat already has power, but you'll need to make sure of that in the future.
Got it.
Just so you know, if any part of a habitat is powered, then the whole habitat will be powered.
So we have power to this habitat. It's all good.
You can find heat maps for all sorts of helpful things, so do be sure to explore them and make good use of them.
So instead of long grass,
it'll take a little while for the temperature to adjust once you've added coolers or heaters. But now we've got the coolers in, we can address the leopards' terrain welfare. You see, what the leopards really want in here is snow and rock. So let's make that happen.
I see that. Actually, it just wants rock in general. There's not even a bar for it. It's just, yes, give me the luck. It doesn't want too much long grass, which I completely get. Where's the long grass? Ah, get rid of you. Don't want you anymore. I can't see much long grass. It all looks quite short. Unless it's inside the shelter. Good point. Make it nice and cold in there. Still loads of long grass. Must be like little tiny bits of it. Oh.
Now then. All of that should give you a pretty good understanding of how to make animals happy. So I'd like you to go and check on all the other animals in the zoo and fix up any issues with their habitats. That'll increase the average welfare of the animals across the whole zoo. And that average welfare is a very important statistic.
So the final part of this
to quickly
is
see
to
how
get
all your
80%
animals are doing in the zoo,
happiness.
You should go into zoo management and then into the animals section.
Zoo and find animals. This is all the animals in a zoo.
This list shows you the animals' overall welfare. So if something's amiss, then you can quickly pop over to them using the locate button. Right, I'm off for a cuppa while you make sure all the animals are well looked after.
Just leave me to it, why don't you? Look at the poop on that. That is big. Right, enrichment is horrifically low for these poor elephants. So habitat. We want enrichment items, I believe so, and we want to filter them for elephants, African elephants. There we go. Enrichments for days. This looks new. I don't recognise this. Guessing they've added a few things since the beta. Put it obviously near the windows so people can see. This should hopefully help. Entertain them a little bit. Adding a few more toys in. I still struggle with the plants. I don't know why I struggle so much, but I just do. A metal... really? No, I'm going to go for a rubbing pillar. Looks a bit small, actually. But I had got it set to African elephant, so... I'm guessing it's okay. Ooh. Ooh, so what, it just spins? This is interesting. This will be interesting to watch. Oh, the keeper walked straight into it. Yeah, it's getting a little bit messy, but they look a lot more happier now. How are we doing in terms of the goals? 73%. It's gone up by 1%. Great. But they look a lot happier. So, yeah. Plants, 92%. I struggle so much with plants. I use all the correct filters, but I can't get the right plants down. It's weird. Anyway, let's go to zoo. We're desperately trying to get this to 80%. Looks like the bears are not happy in any way. No, no, no. Right, bears, what's wrong with you? Let's have a look. Habitat, welfare. That's not good. So they want some more cleanliness. I mean, the keeper is here. Called keeper anyway. And some more enrichment. Some more toy enrichments. So we don't want the African elephant anymore. We want the bear. The massive bear. What's the actual grizzly bear? Okay. I know that. I'm a professional. So they want, is it more of like a toy enrichment? Yeah, toy enrichment. What is that? Fire hose ball. How does that work? Bobby pin enrichment. These are ones I've definitely not seen yet. Is it, wait, like bobs around? Ooh. A prey scented sack. I've definitely seen before. Put a box down as well. Lots of enrichments. A block of ice? Yep, I read that correctly. So they've now got a lot more enrichments. They look a lot more happy already. So that's good. A lot more clean. Nutrition. The last meal wasn't the best quality. They want more quality. Understand. Wind chimes. Oh man, these are new. There's so many new enrichments from the beta. I've never seen. I love the grizzly bears. They're so cute. Not cute, actually quite scary, but they've just got so much detail. Hippopotamus. Oh, the peafowls. We started working with these to make them a little bit happier. What do they want? Out of interest. Enrichment again. Enrichment seems to be a massive issue that we have to work on. Indian peafowl. Where are you? There you are. Mirror Mobile. Herb scent marker enrichment. Let's try that. For some reason it's obstructed. Where do you want? Okay, that works. A mobile. Let's put it in front of everyone so they can see them play. I know they want some food enrichment as well, which we can definitely work on. Just like a little foraging pit. Doesn't make it look as nice anymore, but it will make them happy. That's the main thing. There we go. Habitat looking good. They want some more plants. Oh no. I always struggle so much with plants. Yeah, I just seem to just struggle with plants. I just cannot get the right plants. That's the only thing I've struggled with so far in the game. It is tricky. And I don't know why. Who should we help out next? The hippopotamus. So I'm looking for a hippopotamus. I would like to buy one. I have the funds available. How much do I want to spend? Good question. Size not great. Immunity not great, which is a bit of an issue. Longevity. I might go for this one. I know longevity is a bit low, but everything else looks pretty good. Adopted. Animal storage. Select all. Move. Let's see if this works. I don't know if it's going to work or not, because it's quite a small habitat. I don't know, we'll see. Enrichment does look also very, very low. So habitat. Let's set up a filter. Hippopotamus. I love hippos, but man are they scary. Really scary. This is useful for a hippo? I guess so, yeah. It's the right sort of height, isn't it? Where's the windows? I guess people can look in from over the wall, I guess. Look at that. Food enrichment.
Not bad.
I've done it! I've got a gold!
I think it's fair to say that you've passed the first part of your training with flying colours.
We did it!
There's still lots more to learn, but we'll have to head to another one of Bernie's zoos for that. If you want to grab your passport, we'll head off, shall we?
Let's go. The next scenario. We've never done this before. It's completely brand new. Never seen anything on it as well.
Sounds like you've got the whole zoo
yeah.
purring away nicely. Well, purring, grunting, screaming, booming. All the appropriate noises. I guess I was right to hire you, huh? Don't tell her I told you, but Nancy wasn't sure you'd even last the morning. So, we're happy this is working out. And Nancy owes me a foxy coffee.
Bernie, you are so
As strange as it seems, considering we just met, when I look at you, I feel like you're the child I never had.
What?
After the one I did have, obviously. But you see, zookeeping's not for my daughter. Don't get me wrong. Emma absolutely loves animals, but she set her sights somewhat higher. Wants to save the entire planet. I'll just settle for saving a couple of species. Oh, and maybe having a type of frog named after me.
Right, my game might have just crashed, which is a bit disappointing. But anyway, let's move on to the next scenario. Let's go for those 3 stars. Ooh, look at this place. Wow. Oh my god.
Welcome to Madagascar. It's quite the change of scenery from dreary old England, huh?
Incredible.
Apart from the weather, I suppose. They don't call these places rainforests for nothing. The zoo you'll be working in is an ape sanctuary, where we're doing vitally important conservation work. Not just for apes, but for all kinds of species. But apes, well, apes are some of the closest relatives to humans there are. And yet, the way the world treats them is like, well, very much like some of us treat our actual relatives. Anyway, that's why I'm determined that our operation here does some good. If we can all leave some part of the world in a better state than we found it, we'll have lived lives worth living. And speaking of states, I have a horrible feeling I left the house in the right one. When I get back, I expect my life won't be worth living at all.
What do you think of
It's
Madagascar
incredible.
then? Bit warm for my taste, to be honest.
What?
Anyway, this is Bernie's primate sanctuary. It's not just primates, though. We've got all sorts of animals. So why don't we go and have a look at some of them, eh? We'll start by taking a look at the red-ruffed lemurs. They're the ones that look like they should be in a Shakespeare play. Come on, let's head
Give
over
me
to
a
them.
chance. I'm just looking round. She's so impatient. Alright, so can we start? There we go. For some reason, this is running a lot better than the previous level, which is weird. It's like now spot on 60.
Red-ruffed lemurs are found in the rainforests of Masoala. That's in northeast Madagascar. They can actually live anywhere from 15 up to 25
Red lemurs.
years. Fancy that, eh? Okay, when you're ready, let's go find our Bornean orangutans.
Quick look. Look at the fur details on these creatures. Absolutely incredible. Enrichment does not look very good. Right, where are we going to now?
The Bornean orangutan is such a marvellous creature.
Look at that.
They're always a big favourite at any zoo they feature in. And they're also the biggest tree-dwelling animal on the planet. Assuming you don't count any lions that got stuck up one.
That looks
Why
real.
don't you take a better look at them? Open up their information panel and go into the animal camera. Aren't they just incredible? When you're ready, let's go and have a look-see at some of our beautiful bonobos. They're quite the characters.
Bonobos. Is that another type of monkey?
Oh dear! It looks like we've arrived just in time.
What?
One of the habitat's barriers has collapsed.
Oh no!
And wouldn't you know it, one of the bonobos has made a run for it. We'll need to catch them. But before we do, we should box up the other bonobos to stop them escaping too. Select the habitat boundary to bring up the habitat information panel.
Oh yeah, I see the break here. So that wall's been knocked down. So I've selected the habitat, box or animals. They'll be
Now,
boxed.
we'll need a vet to recapture that escaped bonobo. But it seems our last one left to do some research in the wild. Not an ideal situation. So
There's no
we'll
vet
need to
here.
hire a replacement, sharpish. Go into the zoo section and then into the staff management area. You
Want
can
a
find
vet.
all of your staff in here, but there's no time to go looking at their particulars at the moment. Hire a vet.
I've done it.
Great.
There we go,
Now
a
let's
vet's
deal with
here.
our escapee before they can cause too much havoc. Use the animal alerts to jump to the escaped bonobo.
Where are you,
And then click on the
bonobo?
call vet button to
Oh,
call
look.
the vet over to capture
What?
it.
Cool vet.
Okay, that's a relief. So while the vet deals with our bonobo friend, let's go fix up their habitat
It's
so they can't
escaped.
escape again. Head back over there.
Right, need to fix this habitat. Ah, so delete the old barrier. Let's put a new one in. Extend this a little bit so it's a bit longer. Done.
Good. Now that we've done that, we need to make sure to add climb-proof barriers to the top. That way the bonobos won't be able to climb out. Just make sure you've got the correct piece of barrier selected when you do that.
So none. Left, right, both.
Nicely
There we go.
done.
Both.
And I think it's high time we unbox those bonobos, wouldn't you say? The poor mites will get sad if we leave them in there for too long. Select the habitat barrier to bring up the habitat information panel again.
Unbox all animals.
So, So,
They
it
are
turns
free.
out that as well as the old vet leaving, the zoo's mechanics did too. We'll need
what?
to hire a couple of new ones so we can help stop any more breakouts. You
Good
see,
idea.
mechanics do all sorts of helpful things around the zoo, but one of their most important jobs is taking care of
We
the
have a
habitat
bronze.
barriers. Without mechanics around to repair them, the barriers will crack, crumble, and fall down. And before you
Bare
know it, they'll be
essentials.
overrun with
Ooh.
escaped animals. Go into the zoo section and then into the staff management area again.
Already done it.
We have been busy, haven't we?
We
Good
have.
work there. I'm off for a cuppa. Oh, I
What?
think Bernie wants a word with you.
About what? Locate the highlighted area.
I hear you had a bit of an issue with an escaped bonobo. The
I did.
main thing is that you dealt with it swiftly.
I
And
did.
more importantly, without the animal stealing someone's clothes, putting them on, and then walking out of the front gate.
That
You
would
see,
not be good.
another key responsibility for our vets is animal research. Researching animals allows vets to unlock new enrichment items, additional information for our education resources, enhanced breeding programs, and improvements to food quality. The animals' food, not the vets. It'll take more than a research grant to improve the staff canteen. Anyway, as you can see, research is a key part of running your zoo. In order for a vet to undertake research, they require a research centre. And once again, that's something that this zoo is missing. So let's build one. I've marked out an area for you to put it.
Where? Ah. I see it. Right, so we have a research center put down, so we can begin the research.
Here,
Down
you can
here.
see a list of all the animals present in your zoo. And also all the potential diseases
Ooh.
that can occur.
No, no, no.
Now, drag and drop your vet onto the ring-tailed lemur to start their research.
Ring-tailed lemur. So currently research is level 5, but obviously we want to increase that, learn more.
Actually, thinking about it, I'm not sure we've got any education boards or speakers by the lemur's habitat.
What?
Let's head over there and
Blasphemy.
add some, so our guests can learn all about the furry little delights.
The furry little delights.
First off, let's pop down 2 education boards. Place them on the habitat barriers at a height that guests can see, or, if you like, pop them down on a stand.
Right, so put the information board down. I don't think that's perfectly aligned, but move it. Is that aligned? Yeah, that will do. And then we need to select the ring-tailed lemur. Is that right? I hope so. Yes. So that should be ready to go. And then facility, put another one down. And it should just align up. Done. Bit of a weird place for a speaker, but I'll make it work.
Fantastic. Oh, it's worth remembering that education boards and speakers both need power to work. They won't do much good without it. Oh, it looks as though our vet has completed their research on
Oh,
ring-tailed
sweet.
lemurs. We'll need to collect the results. We can do that by clicking on the notification or by going back into the vet research area.
Done. So what have we found out? Is this what we select?
Go on, collect your research
There we go.
rewards. Just so you know, vets will continue to research an animal even after successfully completing a research level. I suppose when you're in the zone, you're in the zone. Now, I think it's time we looked at one of the zoo's most important responsibilities, releasing animals into the wild. You see, when we feel an animal is ready, we can release them into the wild. But what makes an animal a good candidate for release? Well, their age is an important factor. I mean, we can't release an animal that's a juvenile, just as we can't release one that's gotten too old. They'll also need to be fertile. After all, the idea is to repopulate the wild, so the best candidates will have a high fertility gene. And together, the age and fertility of a candidate will determine how many conservation credits will be rewarded when we release them. Now, conservation credits are vitally important. They're the lifeblood of your zoo, because earning them allows you to adopt even more animals. And what's more, the animals you can adopt will be of a higher quality. So, with that in mind, let's pop over to our orangutan habitat.
Guys, we're going to release an animal into the wild. So these are the credits you get for conversation. So we're about to release an animal, apparently.
I'd like you to find
to the wild.
The Bornean orangutan in the habitat and select him, please. You can either click through each orangutan in turn, or select the habitat barrier, go to the animals tab in the habitat information panel, and find him in the animals list.
We found him, so we're going to release him to the wild. Oh my god! Is that how much we get? That is a lot of credits. So the lifespan looks really good. Fertility looks great. Fertility gene looks great. Yeah, perfect release. I'm happy.
I know, it's sad to see him go, but he'll be happy out in the wild. And he's a wonderful candidate for release. Young, strong, and fertile. Excellent work there.
Perfect.
You've definitely got potential,
It feels good. It's sad to see him go, but we did the right thing.
I see you've been doing some homework. Although, it hardly seems like work when you're learning about something as adorable as a ring-tailed lemur. I imagine I'd have got much better grades at school if there'd been less algebra and more aldebra. Tortoises.
Wow.
Okay, so far we've done a lot of work with habitat animals, but now it's time to learn all about exhibit animals. Let's build a brand new exhibit.
I like it.
I've marked an area for our new exhibit. How about we head over there? Lovely. Now let's build a new exhibit in the gap that's been left. Just add it to the building like we did with the research center earlier.
This isn't just a normal animal. This is an exhibit animal. I've just put this exhibit in here. It actually costs quite a lot of money. Exhibit trade in. Oh. Wow. Okay, that's kind of scary. A lizard.
Just as we do with habitat animals, we need to send the Gila monster to the exhibit.
There you
Click
go.
on the exhibit to send it there.
Is it there?
When you send an animal to an exhibit, it'll automatically be given the correct setup. But that doesn't mean it's completely ready for them. So let's finish it off. We'll start by adding some enrichment items. Click on the exhibit to bring up its information panel.
Oh, little hiding places.
Good. Now click on the layout tab.
Look at that. That's quite cool.
As I'm sure you know by now, you can unlock more enrichment levels by having one of your vets do some research. Now we'll also need to set the temperature and humidity in the exhibit. These are vitally important for keeping our Gila monster happy and comfortable. Click on the climate tab.
So humidity needs to be
you can see the Gila monster's desired
changed.
temperature and humidity. You can change both of these by adjusting the dials below. Make sure it's going to be nice and cozy.
So the bar's quite small. What percent is that? Oh, 32. Bring it down a little bit more.
That's the ticket.
Perfect.
And the last thing we need to look at is setting up the different windows. So click on the Windows tab.
And then what?
You can edit and customize any of the windows on an exhibit. A window can be closed and blank, or have a two-dimensional background, or even a three-dimensional background on it. Why don't you have a play around with the options?
I closed that one so you can't see into the next exhibit, if that makes sense. I mean, that makes sense. So we're going to put an exhibit educational board. So where would that go? Right, that is now roughly in place, and there's the information. We don't really have much information yet. There's not a whole lot of research done. I must admit I struggled a bit on this episode, trying to work out all the different mechanics and trying to make the barriers link back up and move things around. But I am getting it slowly but surely, and I'm really enjoying the game. The animals look absolutely incredible, and there's so much depth. So much depth. And of course, it's raining. Of course it is. Where's the brollies? There we go. Right on cue. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys want to see more Planet Zoo scenarios, let me know. I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.